Why do women cheat? Do any of these songs ring a bell? Me and Mrs. Jones, we've got a thing going on. We both know that it's wrong, but it's much too strong to let it go. What about, I can tell you lying, because when you're denying, you stutter, 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 stutter. And we cannot forget the urban classic, I saw you and him walking in the rain. You were holding hands and I would never be the same. Now, funny thing is that cheating is really glorified and accepted in this culture through music. However, as evidenced by the songs that I pointed out, women are often singing about men cheating on them, but the men in these songs are singing about being cheated on by women. Why is that? First, let's go back to a term that I introduced in the previous video, enmity. The enmity between the sexes, that sexual tension, that tug of war. It's part of the carnal excitement that is ignited in the honeymoon phase of a relationship. Remember, it's biblical and it's unavoidable. It just occurs in varying degrees. It's fun, flirty, and intense for a minute. That teasing and joking with one another, it can morph into disdain, bitterness, and contempt if you are not careful. Now, ladies, you being contrary is not cute or amusing. It is draining, and a man will avoid you in order to avoid it. Then you lose interest in him as well, and you get with the new guy who's enthralled by all of your exciting shenanigans. He's sitting up wondering why your ex broke up with you in the first place. He sprung, and he celebrates the wild, carnal activities because it hasn't worn on him yet. In time, though, both he and you come to the conclusion that the emotional mismatch is not sustainable, and you break up, creating an endless cycle of spark, fizzle, spark, fizzle. And in extreme cases, if a woman's degree of enmity is really out of control, she'll break up with a man simply because he won't argue with her. She wants a verbal fight, and in some instances, she'll follow him around from room to room, sometimes attacking him, which could bring about a physical confrontation. So why does enmity trigger cheating in women? Well, this condition creates an atmosphere where temptation will come through the door. And the temptation, it'll be packaged according to what your aesthetics are. If you like buff white boys with blue eyes, well, here he comes. And if you like brainy, tall chocolate men, guess what? You're getting ready to bump into him at Target. And you think it's incidental, but it's not. It's the activity of negative spiritual forces, and they are trying to destroy you and your commitment to your man based on your weaknesses. I've got pages and pages of content on enmity, but I just want to move forward right now. Let's talk about pursuit. Pursuit is not just biological, it's spiritual as well. The definition of pursue is to follow someone or something in order to catch or attack them, to proceed, to go towards, to hunt, to hound, to stalk, or to run after. Men chase and pursue. Women are the object of their pursuit. Girls are groomed and socialized to be pursued. Women are in the habit of being pursued. They are indoctrinated and trained. And when you couple that with the woman's natural desire to be in a relationship, then she goes along with the rituals that accompany chasing and pursuing. Now, of course, we all have free choice and free will, but the conscious and the subconscious grooming becomes a program that kicks in and becomes a prelude to courting. Yeah, it's flattering and ego boosting to have compliments thrown your way and drinks sent over to you at the bar from an admirer. Subconsciously, everyone knows what happy hour and the club are ultimately designed for. But do you have the development to stop it there? Or Is being pursued your will to power? If you are in the habit of, even when you walk down the aisle in that beautiful Vera Wang gown and glance over at your 3-carat engagement ring with no occlusions, you're still going to entertain the prospect of being pursued as soon as you get home from the honeymoon, because it's a program running. It just might be your work husband, the landscaper, your accountant. You're playing with fire. Now, seduction goes hand in hand with being pursued. Are you in the habit of exhibiting seductive behaviors? Flipping the hair, swaying your hips when you walk, batting those beautiful eyelashes? Or can you stop a man dead in his tracks with your eyes? Is that your will to power? If it's not your man, then it's a gateway to a heap of trouble if you don't have the discipline and restriction to say no. Now, finally, women can be very indecisive, and not just about shoes and what outfit to wear, but in some instances about the type of man that she's with. Initially, you typically only choose from men who are pursuing you. And if you get tired of waiting on the man of your dreams, then you settle. It might be her second, third, or fourth choice. And fellas, don't ever ask your woman if you were her first choice. You might get your feelings hurt and be devastated. Now, when she hasn't discovered who she is, she probably hasn't sat down and decided what type of man she wants. She's making decisions on the fly. Then that spirit of indecisiveness, it will trigger her to look over at her husband one day and see nothing but poor choices, haste, and unfulfilled potential. She'll posture herself to be pursued by the man she thinks she deserves, not who she's settled for. In other words, she's out here trying to upgrade. An upgrade could mean going from a nice guy to a thug, a blue collar to a white collar, or a black man to an Asian man. It's not logical. It's solely predicated on what she's entertaining in her mind in terms of personal happiness and fulfillment, by ignoring changing herself. Now, with acknowledgement, consciousness, and awareness of who you are and where you are in this, these are all behaviors that can be extinguished if you want to. But if you want to double down and say, oh, it's just the way I am and I'm not changing for anybody, then it's likely that you will have difficulty with having a sustainable, committed, peaceful relationship for the rest of your life.